I'm now with Mark and Lindsay Alley. They started competing last season in an Alpha Sud and have quickly graduated to the Pulsar kit car here. This is quite a different car to the Alpha Sud, isn't it, Mark? How do you get on with it?
It's a lot more lively, less weight, more power, rear-wheel drive and front engine rather than front-wheel drive, so a very different beast altogether.
I can imagine. And you, Lindsay, enjoying the learning curve of this car?
I am. I must say it takes a lot of confidence building and things like that. I'm nowhere near Mark's time yet, but hoping to beat him again, like I did in the Sud.
I had heard today that you were driving with the novel excuse of a broken foot. That must be a new one for the book of excuses from drivers.
Definitely, and I'm wheeling it out all the time. So all my bad runs today are all down to it.
I can imagine. Mark, you actually took the advantage of taking the Gurston Drivers' School last month, I think. Has that made much of a difference to your understanding of the hill and your performance in the car?
Having the level of feedback and the experience of the instructors there really made a huge difference. The next event I got 3 personal bests in a row, and that speaks volumes for the quality of the school and the experience that we had there, and can't fault it. Absolutely brilliant day out.
Yeah, it certainly is a good day out, as well as very useful if you're competing. So even as a guy that just wants to try his hand on the hill, not actually bother competing, then the school can work very well for you as a day out, can't it?
Oh yeah, it was geared towards those who had no idea what Hillclimb was, and also those of us who had actually competed here before. So it was a good introduction to Hillclimb and the hill itself, as well as honing skills for those of us that had done it before.
And what car did you use for the school? Did you use this car or a road car?
We have to use a road legal car. I used Lindsay's Ford Puma.
Oh, well, that was very generous of you, Lindsay.
It was. He shoehorned himself in.
Now, your day job is as publicans of a local pub. Quite a commitment to come here and give up trade for the weekend.
It is. We've got a good assistant manager who holds the fort while we're away, and our employers Buckham are very understanding of what we do. But the pub's in good hands while we're here, so we only get sort of 5 weekends away, and we love it here at Gurston, so we're here every opportunity we get.
Your sort of vacation.
Ideal.
What Mark and Lindsay didn't mention was that their pub, the Ring of Bells in Compton Martin, recently won second prize in the South of England Pub of the Year competition. But here's Mark now in this Sports Libre Pulsar, which used to belong to former Gurston champion Paul Webster. As you heard, the Alleys replaced their Alpha Sud saloon with this car last season. It runs a new Technics Vauxhall engine, and Mark is rapidly adapting to rear-wheel drive competition. That's a good smooth passage through the carousel with no fireworks, but quick and absolutely on the right line. The day spent at Gurston Hillclimb Drivers' School obviously paid off. It's a good run for Mark to chase home Gurston experts John and David Frampton. Now let's take a ride up Gurston in the passenger seat of Colin Smith's ex-Rallycross Escort Cosworth during a morning practice run. Away from the line, and we're immediately into Gurston's unique downhill start chute. Approaching 3-figure speeds in the turbocharged saloon, we're already into the left-hand sweep at Hollow. Colin takes a big chunk of the left-hand verge to straighten the corner, pouring on the power as the road continues to bend left. Here's the tyre marks on the road, so he's hard on the brakes for carousel and the sweep up the steepest part of the course. Over to the right now to line up for Deer's Leap and the critical left-hander at Ashes. It's essential to come out of here as quickly as possible for the long drag up over Burke's Rise where power really tells. The finish is actually on a slight S-bend. Not too much of a problem for a medium powered saloon, but the top single seaters, believe it or not, are hitting 150 miles an hour through here. Well, that was pretty quick for a first practice run. Let's take a breather in the paddock now with Tony Wilshire.
Thanks, Jerry. Terry, the Roltar T34 here was new to you this season. I know you bought it as a rolling chassis. What engine have you put into the car?
We've put a Ford Duratec 2.3 engine, which Mark Schillerbeer from SRD Racing has developed and built.
Now, I understand you ran a Duratec in your previous chassis. That was a Pilbeam, if I remember rightly?
Yeah, the Pilbeam MP50, the same engine, slightly less horsepower, and we've done a few modifications and tweaks to it for this year just to try and get a bit more out of it.
Now, how does this chassis compare with the Pilbeam that you were running last year?
Well, the Rolt is actually a lot stiffer than the Pilbeam, which is a very soft chassis. I'm running similar times, maybe a bit quicker with this one, so I'm hoping to improve and carry on improving through the year, really.
I'll bet. Still a learning curve for you then?
Yeah, very steep learning curve, generally 1 in 7 depending on the hill. But no, it is very steep, yeah.
But some success last weekend at Castle Hillclimb down in Cornwall, FDD on the Saturday.
Yeah, very lucky. Yeah, I got FTD on the Saturday. Very pleased with that. Could have done with it on Sunday as well, but lost it to the V8. But lack of horsepower, I think.
But only just, I understand.
Yeah, it was only by just over a tenth. So still very pleased with the car and the performance.
You've had one practice run this morning. How did that go?
It was okay. It was a 31, but a lot of understeer I found through ashes. So I should have to try and modify my driving skills through that one, I think.
Well, maybe track conditions will improve a bit during the day as well as the hill rubber's in.
Yeah, hopefully. It was quite a cold wind this morning, so a bit of sun on it might help.
Okay, well thanks Terry, and all the best for the rest of the day. Have a good run.
What Tony didn't say was that he himself ran this very same Wrought RT34 chassis very successfully for the last few seasons with 2-litre Peugeot power. But Terry Graves looks like being equally successful with a bigger Duratec engine. That FTD at Castle was his first big success of the year, but here on the power slopes of Gurston he's going to be struggling to match the big V8 single-seaters, not to mention Nick Band's fabulous Manic BT. The nimble Formula 3 chassis handles well through carousel and ashes, and Terry heads for the line. So here's the eldest of the next generation of the Marsh family, Simon, bringing his father's V6 Opel powered Gould GR55 to the line. We've seen Simon in action at Gurston before, driving his Clubman's Mallock sports car, but this is only the third time he's driven this state-of-the-art Hillclimb Gould, and he's getting quicker with every outing. That's a superb line through Hollow Bend, and it's quick and smooth into carousel. Simon carries the speed through the tight uphill section, just keeping off the rumble strips, and heads into ashes, where he just lets the car run wide to make sure of getting a good run at Burke's Rise. Full power to the finish, and 28.83 is a great time, only 4 tenths away from Nick Mann's FTD and good enough for third fastest overall. Join us again after the break as some of the top contenders begin their battle for Gurston Championship points.